live. There we go. I feel so like I've moved my okay, guys. I've moved my camera so that it's a little. We're dealing with a much better lighting situation than last night. I discovered that part of the problem was that the light was reflecting off of my desk. I'll show you what you guys. This is gonna be really bright, but like it was reflecting off of this part. And so that was being a little bit of a problem. But hello and welcome everyone to Reading Sprints. We are here because we are going to hopefully get some reading done. In theory.
In theory.
So, real quick, I do have some lovely guests. If you guys want to introduce yourselves and what you're reading this afternoon, and then I'll tell you guys about what I'm reading this afternoon, and everyone will be happy.
Okay. Oh, I guess I'll start.
I was going to say, I'll volunteer someone if we need to. I am not beyond doing that.
So, hi, I'm Neva. My channel is Neva's Cozy Corner. We do things over there, diamond painting things, reading things, sprinty things, vlogs. I mean, I have taken a little bit of a hiatus in whatever this month is, August. Okay. But we'll be back to regular two a week uploads in September. Ari starts school on Monday. So
exciting.
Ooh.
How's she feeling about that?
She was ready to go back 3 weeks ago. So she's been ready to go back since like the 1st of August. She's been like, Mom, how many days until we have meet the teacher? Well, we did meet the teacher last week. And then she's like, can you just leave me here? And I was like, unfortunately, no.
No, it's not their job to take care of you. It's mine.
They don't have to come home until...
Your teachers do have lives outside of school.
Well, she's very upset that like the first 2 days are not full school days. Like they get out an hour early the first 2 days. Mm-hmm. And she's like, so they couldn't just let us go to school the full day. And I was like, well, they do it this way because they transition all the pre-K kids in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and
they're not used to going to school, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or we assume that they're not, unless they've gone to like daycare or something. But
that's interesting that they do that for everyone instead of just having pre-K be a half. Well, I guess if you have kids that are also in elementary school.
Yeah. So they do it for the pre-K and the kindergartners because technically pre-kindergarten isn't required here. Like you don't have to do it. So our pre-K is considered like 4-year-old kindergarten, I guess. Like you don't have to do that.
Well, that's what pre-K is.
Yeah.
And kindergartners tend to feel very overwhelmed by going from like pre-K where they were only doing, I think it's like each class, like half of them go to certain days of the week and the other half go the other 2 days and then they're all out for Friday in pre-K. Mm-hmm. And so if you are going from that to kindergarten where you're supposed to be there for 8 hours, 5 days a week, it can be a big thing or whatever.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a big transition for kiddos.
Yeah. So
except Ari apparently, because Ari just wants to live there.
That's what I'm saying. Like Ari would just move in, you know? They could just get her like a nice bed and set her up. She would just live at school. She'd come home on the weekends. I think college would be great for her, you know?
She's gonna be the one that like joins like 4 sororities.
I'm gonna get a call every week. She's gonna be like, Mom, you'll never guess what I did this week. And I'll be like, I'm sure I can't.
I'm exhausted listening with you. What are we working on your end, Neva?
I should theoretically listen to more of On Wings of Blood for a vlog that I can tell you like what the thing is. Like it's a reading my friend's favorite books vlog. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this one doesn't corrupt and delete all of my footage. We're not going to talk about it, okay?
I remember that.
Oh, I hate that.
I figured out a workaround for the last one. It's just going to be like a sit down because I still want to talk about the books.
The books that you read?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I read all the, well, technically I DNF'd one, I guess, but I read most of the books.
Agreed, Glenda. Yeah, it does sound like Ari's ready for school.
I'm ready for her to go, just because she's so ready to go, you know? But I should listen to On Wings of Blood. I've done a very like limited amount of reading because I am doing 75 books, so I've been doing like just enough reading that I
to do your
for 75 booked, but like Hayden Panettiere died, so now I'm rewatching Nashville. So we're gonna have to just take a break from rewatching Nashville and actually read something, you know?
That's what this weekend is for. It's for unplugging.
I'll also be
refocusing.
Probably this one because it's on my table.
Ooh. That's pretty.
So, but it's the one that's on my desk and I'm too lazy to move it, so.
Understood. Julie, what are you here working on? Oh, do you want to introduce yourself and your channel real quick? And then what are we working on for you?
Sure, yeah. So my channel is called Keep Calm with Books and Coffee. I do also vlogs, sprints, sit-down videos, all the booktube things. And I'm a bit of an omnivorous reader, mostly like focused on fantasy, but also a bunch of other things. Currently, I'm working on trying to finish a crochet project. That's too ambitious. But finish a section of a crochet project. Finish this color. And I'm reading The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter.
Yeah, you were reading that. You said that's a reread, right?
Yeah, I read it in 2018. So I do not remember anything about this.
It's okay. I have several books on my on Goodreads that Goodreads says I read. I have no memory of those books.
Listen, me too. I looked up a book the other day because I was like, this has been on my TBR for the longest time. And then Paige Brown told me because I was able to like import all my stuff from Goodreads and Storygraph, right? And it told me that I'd already read the book, and I was like, I fear I did not. I fear that I
don't believe you.
Maybe this was when I was reading 130 books a year, and so I don't remember half of the things that I read. Maybe I read it, but although the time frame in which it said I read the book was during Amazing Readathon. Like the first year that we did Amazing Readathon. So I fear that I blanked most of those books.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. And before I forget, you know what, we're going to say hello to some people and then we'll get into what I'm doing. And then I do want to see if you guys I'm going to let you guys think about this rather than springing it on you. If there is a specific video you would like to plug while we have people at the beginning, I'm trying to get better about having people plug it at the beginning and the end so that like we get both ends of the crowds. So, but we do have friends. We have a Glinda. Hello. We have Tennille. We got some other hellos. Tennille says I was having health issues earlier. I'm so sorry. I didn't get a lot of reading and no housework done before this. Things are starting to, definitely still take it easy. Like weekends are for rest, and sometimes you just don't get as much done on the weekend as you would like. So got some hellos. Glenda's hoping for a better day of reading for Tennille. We have a Sadia. Hello. And Jess showed up. Hello, Jess. How are you this afternoon? Are you still working on I can see the cover in my mind, but I cannot remember the title of the book. It's really orange and pink. It looks like one that I will probably pick up at some point, but I am working on Sublimation by Isabel J. Kim. And by working on, I mean I've gotten like 2 chapters in so far today. So we're going to try and get a lot done during these reading sprints because I would like to have this done by like maybe not the end of today, but by the end of the 48 hours tomorrow. So
sounds good.
That means I need to get a whole bunch read for that. Real quick, do you guys have a specific video that you would like to plug? We're going to start with Julie because Julie, you're the one that I have the channel up currently.
I'm trying to think oh gosh, I should have pulled up my own channel. I think the last thing I posted was a haul, and I don't remember what it was before that. So probably the haul, since that is the most recent video I posted. Perfect. And we'll do that one, yeah.
if you guys are wanting to read and not, or you guys aren't interested in reading, you would rather watch a video and chill for a bit, Julie's video is right there if you would like. And I will also have it if you want to watch it later. I'll have it linked in the description. I'm trying to do that as well. Like, hey, what's the most recent video? Here you go. We'll have it easily linked for people. And then Neva, do you have anything specific that you would like to plug for your channel?
I'll let you pick. You can pick either the most recent whip and chat, because that is my most recent video.
Well, we are all. You also have sprints later today, correct?
We do have sprints later today. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yes.
or my most recent like reading specific video was my library reading vlog.
Ooh, exciting. I need to do another one of those like library shopping videos because
Yeah.
YouTube freaking loves them, by the way, guys.
And
YouTube loves it.
I'm gonna be doing like a back to school reset vlog because I have to reset when Ari goes back to school. Because like summer is so freaking chaotic. That I have to get myself back on schedule. So there will be new library books showcase for that, like in that, because I just went to the library the other day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Here, we'll do your most recent whip and chat for if anybody wants just a chill video to listen to in the background while they get stuff done. This is a good one. And I will link that down below if you guys want to get to it later. So let us go ahead. Give me just a second. I need to reset things on the timer because it's being stupid. All right. Reset full session. we all have a love-hate relationship with Flocus, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
So what is your crochet project, by the way, Julie?
So I last year I made a Taylor Swift blanket and I gave it to my sister for Christmas, and now I'm frantically trying to get one done for myself so that she doesn't release another album and it won't be a perfect even number of squares.
I know people are like, she's gearing up for something new or something else. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think we're going, like, I don't think releasing a new album every year, I don't think is something that she is going to do forever. So I honestly think that debut is going to be the focus with the 20th anniversary coming up. If she releases anything, I think it's going to be that and not like a brand new album. I've been wrong before. I have been wrong before, but I don't know. I'm very skeptical of the idea of her releasing a new album just because she's wearing a new color.
Yeah.
Like,
I think she's enjoying her honeymoon period and I just want to let her enjoy her life. Like,
I do. And I do feel like there are very strong themes that like debut might be floral themed this time around. Which would fit with it, but yeah, I think she's just enjoying herself for now. And I do like one of the things people continually forget is that like she has mentioned in interviews that purple is her favorite color. Let a girl just wear her favorite color and not be it something that we're speculating about.
Right, exactly.
So, anyways, what do you guys say about us doing a sprint?
Nice. Yeah.
Amazing. We're going to go for an hour this time. We might do like 2 hours and then like a 45 potentially, just because I do want to actually have us transition to Neva's channel at a time that is in fact the time Neva has scheduled.
I mean, Neva can move it an hour if she needs to. I just scheduled it for the regular time.
Nah, it's fine. I almost did 4 sprints last night, and then I looked at the time and I was like, oh no, that's way too late for me. We've been here for 4 hours. So, yeah. Okay, all right. I am going to send us on to a sprint because I do want to get more of this book read. Jess said that the audiobook is really, really good, so now I am even more excited than I already was. So, anyways, we shall go in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. Hold on. Let me stop this. How did we all do? Oh.
Julie, I know you were trying to say something, but you're muted, friend.
You are.
Or you were laughing at me. They could have been laughing at me since I slipped and accidentally turned my camera back off after I turned it on.
I didn't see you were back, and then I didn't see you were not back, so I thought you were going to go first. And I was like, oh, I need to go, but then I hadn't unmuted myself.
I mean,
So.
I can go first. That's fine. I finished an episode of Nashville because I was like in the middle of one before the sprint started. And then I listened to another 2 chapters of my book and also messaged Ari's best friend's mom because 9-year-olds are so funny and love to plan their own birthday parties.
She's like 8.5.
Or 8-year-olds love to
8/9.
plan their own birthday parties, and then when you ask their parent, they're like, that's not how that's happening. But I'll send you what the birthday party actually is.
That's hilarious.
That's so funny.
How did you do, Julie?
Pretty good. I did finish my red crocheting, so I've moved on to orange.
Okay.
And I probably have an hour left of my audiobook. I don't know. It's only the ends of audiobooks are hard for me because I tend to just start skipping ahead because I only have this many pages left.
Yeah.
But it will feel like forever listening to that many pages.
Julie.
Well, once I get so deep in an audiobook, all the characters' voices are in my brain. So I can just turn off the audiobook and like hear all the characters.
Yeah.
And I tend to read a little faster than I listen, so
That makes sense.
yeah.
I am definitely not at the end of this audiobook, but I did make it to page 48. It's real weird, and I think we are dealing with at least one unreliable narrator at this point, or at least a narrator that doesn't, like, she's not being honest with our other narrator, and she doesn't know what she wants. So, like, it's very interesting and awkward, and like they're doing this whole like dance of like, I don't know how to talk to you because they haven't talked since they split. So it is very like the personal dynamics of this book are very interesting.
What is like the genre of that one?
This is I think this is like near future sci-fi.
Okay.
Is what I would call. Well, it's like I would call this speculative fiction more than I would call it science fiction, if that makes sense. Because like it's modern day, but we are living in a different version of the world where everyone splits off. If you leave your country with the intent, like it's so interesting because they just brought up Marco Polo, and it's like, well, he was only himself ever when he traveled, but like there's something that like when you make the decision to leave and not come back, the instant gets left behind.
Gotcha.
And it's been tied to like the idea of like seafaring. Like they kind of talked about the fact that like seafaring cultures are where it started. And then the United States is kind of like set up with as a whole country of instances, like a place for all of the instances to come, even though it was already, occupied. So anyways,
That's interesting.
It is. It's so interesting, and I haven't quite got. This is what I've gotten so far. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a weird time, and I'm very excited.
Yeah. That's very
the
fun.
other thing is, and this might bug people, so you might need to brace for this if you want to read it. It is in second person, entirely in second person.
Okay.
I love that though.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
Yeah. I can go either way with it. Sometimes it bugs me, sometimes it works for me.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite instance of second person is the 5th season, and I think that's the only other book that I've read that's been in second person. But did have a few friends join real quick. We had Jean join. Hi, Jean. How are you? Reading Heart of Glass by Jennifer Hillier. Some hellos. We got Aoife is here. Hi, Aoife. Hold up. Let me I forgot to adjust the brakes. Aoife's joining us. Aoife will be with us tomorrow morning, by the way. Aoife's probably surprised because I didn't update her that Neva was joining us on Saturday instead of Sunday.
Listen,
Still reading I Want to Go Home, but already there. 64%. This book very much exists. The only reason
listen.
the only reason I'm still going is because I don't like to DNF for vlogs.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Have we considered DNFing and replacing it with another book?
Neva doesn't apparently know how to read dates. So I thought the boys were going home on Thursday.
Yeah.
But then I realized they weren't going home until Monday. But then
Oh.
their mom was like, well, I thought they were coming home. I thought I bought the tickets for Sunday. So then it was up in the air as to whether she was going to reorder tickets or like switch them around so that they were on Sunday or not. And so I was
Mhm.
like, well, I can't commit to an 8 a.m. live stream if they're leaving on Sunday. So then I was like, well, I'll just switch it now so that I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, sometimes that's easier,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just
Yeah.
like get rid of the stress.
Yeah.
Julie's here. Hi, Julia is here. I can read. I swear to God. Hey there. How are you, Julia? Not currently reading because I have a cat on my chest. He's my old man kitty, so he gets anything he wants. Yeah, absolutely. That's what our old men get and old women.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Take a picture and send it in the Discord. We love kitty pictures. Of cats. Not the other kitty. I just realized how that sounds. I don't have to worry about that from anyone that's currently in this audience, but earlier I was reading The Forsaken Prophecy. It's the second series. First was Forbidden Alchemy. Really enjoying it. Also halfway through Wandering in number 9. It's a lit RPG that just got trad pub. I'd seen that. Okay, so funny story, Julia. Yesterday on Sprints, Kaylee came in and was like, you need to read, was talking about how much she loved A Forbidden Alchemy. So I was like, well, I need to make sure that this is on my TBR because I remembered I think it was you talking about it. And I was like, oh yeah, it is on my TBR. I remember looking this up. So, Tennille says, I listened to some of the Bone Shard War. Very nice. How are we liking the Bone Shard War? I need to read this series. Have either of you read it?
Haven't tried
It's
that
on
one.
my TBR. That's not helpful, is it?
I mean, it is what it is, right? But yeah, anyways, I apparently Kaylee said it was like the best romantasy she's read in a while. So I'm like, okay. Because Kaylee and I like a lot of the same books. Like we're both fans of Percy Jackson. We're both fans of Mortal Instruments. All of that good stuff. So hi Jamie, how are you? Got some hellos. I got 50% into The Hole by Hya Young Kyun. Laughing at us. I assume that's the kid. Send a picture of your cat. Laughing at me, going, oh, hold on. It's a very good. Yeah, I know. I'm very excited. I texted Jess. I was like, dude, you didn't tell me this was in second person.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of those things I was like, I'm good with second person. I think it's very, like, I'm someone that, like, I enjoy things like the fourth wall break. I enjoy bringing the audience in, like, breaking the illusion. That's fun to me when it's done in a way that is done well and intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, there are books where that's why I like Miss Percy so much, right? Because she's literally talking directly to you, the audience. I don't know if you guys have read many books like that.
Not a ton. Some, but that's kind of how this is.
Yeah. Does it have footnotes?
It does not have footnotes, but it has, how do I describe? It's like the characters are talking about how one of the characters is writing down the story of what happened. So there's like little insertions from all of the characters. So
that sounds kind of like the way Amina al-Sarafi is.
Oh, okay.
It's so I can't tell you. There's like an extra layer to it because that you'll find at the end. But Amina El Sarafi, you'll constantly have, because this person, I think the name is Jamal, is the one writing down this story, and so you'll constantly have instances of Amina like talking to Jamal.
Yeah.
Jamal taking down her asides of like, do you want me to tell the story the way it happened or the way that you think I should tell? Like, it's so funny.
Yeah, that's kind of how this is.
You weren't there.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I get wanting to be fully immersed in a story.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love like kind of having this understanding between you and the person, the narrator, that you're both consuming a story. Tennille says, Bone Shard Darda is very good as a fantasy mystery. Let's see, Bone Shard Emperor and Bone Shard War are fantasy. I wouldn't say they're romantasy. There are a couple of mild romantic subplots. Yeah, I wouldn't, based on what here's the thing with me and romantasy, I feel like we're calling a lot of stuff romantasy when it is not.
It's because what they've done is they have tried to clump romantasy and fantasy romance together. They're not the same thing.
Well, here's the thing. I'll say, like, here's the thing. Like, Poppy War is not fantasy romance at all, but you'll still see people call it romantasy because there is a mild romance subplot in it. It is full on. It's political fantasy,
right?
And
but what I'm saying is, fantasy romance as a genre is mainly fantasy, but can have a romance subplot. Romantasy is mainly romance with a fantasy something. And a lot of times, romantasy, the fantasy is the subplot.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to call the Poppy War something other than just fantasy, I could see where someone could argue that the Poppy War is fantasy romance because it has a mild romance subplot.
So but you mild,
can't argue that it's romantasy. I've read the Poppy War, so I understand what you're saying. I also don't agree that. I'm sorry, that it is political fantasy. I don't. I do not agree at all with anyone that it would be even a fantasy romance. So I'm not arguing that it's fantasy romance, but I could see where someone would try to argue it wrongfully, but would try to argue it because they could be like, well, there is a slight romance subplot, so it could be fantasy romance, but what it cannot be is romantasy. This is a hill I will die on. I talked about it in blogs.
I would also die on the hill that it is not fantasy romance, because I feel like fantasy romance, the romance is not as like romantasy. If you take out the romance, you have no plot. Fantasy romance, I feel like you're kind of doing this, you're on this line of, can you take the romance, but if you take out the romance, it is going to fundamentally change the plot.
Fantasy.
Yeah. Whereas Poppy War, you could take the romance out and you would still have that same plot.
Right.
Right?
Okay. I agree with you.
I think if you call the Poppy War fantasy romance, that you are on crack.
I have never done that. I have seen some people trying to call it romantasy, and I was like, did you even read this book?
Did you read
the book? Talking and you don't know what you're saying. But the issue I have with the fantasy romance romantasy debate is that they are fundamentally different things.
I think that there is crossover between the two of them.
Some crossover, but not to the extreme that people are trying to cross it over, though.
Yeah, if there was a Venn diagram, there would be a portion in the center where it really is about what did the author write it to be versus because it could be either.
Yeah. But people are taking books that are very popular fanro books, like that fantasy romance readers have said these are the best fanros or whatever, and are saying now that they're romantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone is like, there are people, not everyone, but people are trying to blur the line between the two to an extreme that they're trying to make it all one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
fantasy romance and romantasy are.
I understand to some extent because it is the hot new buzzword. So if you have something that's close to romantasy, blah blah blah, Tennille says, but also people are starting to call romantasy as fantasy when it's not as spicy, but it's still mostly about the romance. Here's the thing. I don't think spice is something that is necessary for romantasy because number one, you have YA romantasy, right?
I also
Like,
don't think that spice automatically makes something a romantasy or even a
Yeah.
fantasy romance. Just because there's a sex scene in it that is explicit doesn't mean that it falls out of the
there are
genre.
plenty of fantasy books with explicit sex scenes. Carrie Goodkind exists, unfortunately.
I mean,
I
but
say
that's
that as
what I'm
someone who
saying.
loved that series, but it is questionable looking back.
Because I even think that you can have like say a political fantasy that has an explicit sex scene in it and it still be a political
Mhm.
fantasy.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Julia?
automatically make it a fantasy romance or God forbid
Yeah.
a romantasy. I don't know. This is the fantasy romantasy thing is like a hill I will die on. Maybe because I've been on like the book side of the internet long enough that I saw the shift in the thing.
Mm-hmm. But you
And
know the
so
difference.
they are different things. Because
Yep.
there are plenty of fantasy romance books that I would not suggest or recommend to someone who is a pure romantasy reader because it's not going to give them what they want and vice versa. Ari, turn it down. Turn it down or wear headphones. Your phone. Turn it down or wear headphones. Thank you.
All the way down.
So Julia, I would say that yes, you're correct. It's because it's written by a woman. However, people have tried to say that Mistborn is romantasy or fantasy romance. I have actively seen people say this, and again, it is not. It is so deeply not.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the romance is a little bit more integral to the plot in this because there are certain things that happen. But I have like my library's romantasy book club did Mistborn as one of the picks a couple of months ago. I just saw that and I was like, come on, Corinne.
My thing is I feel like it's just being
I think it's the female protagonist.
is being so stretched at this point that like everything is being dubbed a romantasy, and I'm like, there's no way. Like by reading the synopsis, there's no way this is a romantasy.
Yeah.
There's literally not any sexual content in the
think
pocket
there's
war.
any.
I mean, there are plenty of non-romance fantasy novels that have sexual content though. Like Black Prism exists. Terry Goodkind, his Wizard's First Rule series, there are multiple sex scenes in it, and they are pure fantasy novels because that's what he wrote them as. So like I don't think sex scenes preclude something from being pure fantasy.
I also think that for a lot of people, sex as a thing, like sex as an act, right, is like a natural thing too.
It just happens.
So to me, it doesn't. This is why I also don't like the debate about what is quote unquote what is a clean content versus like smut, and there seems to be like no with the people that protest against these things, there seems to be no like middle ground. Like either it's quote unquote clean or it's just smut, and there's a difference. Like there's an in between. Also, I just don't like calling fiction or any book a clean book. That's weird.
Yeah, no, that's so like rooted in purity culture
It
and
is.
purity politics, and it's just like no, let's not do that. I am very much against calling it that. I prefer closed door, as someone who was raised in that.
Yeah, I will call it closed door. Or I actually, as a person who reads very spicy books, okay, I don't discriminate against the spice, okay? So I will actually usually refer to them as books with no spice, a non-spicy romance book.
Yeah.
Or as a spicy book. Now, if it is like all smut, no plot, I will say that too, because there is that too, where it's just smut for smut's sake. You know what I'm saying? But like 2 sex scenes in an open door romance to me does not make it smut. That just makes it an adult book that you're reading.
Yeah. I mean, you can have smut scenes, but I don't think that makes it a smut novel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Lexi, how are you? Reading Dracula and Kiss of the Black Flame today? Also, Neva, I loved Let's See Loved on Wings of Blood. Already have the next one ordered.
I am in. I mean, I'm having a.
I mean, it depends on what you're talking about in spicy bits, because I can think of quite a few like pure fantasy novels where there's sex scene. Yeah, there's Game of Thrones has sex scenes.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
what
don't
I was
think
thinking too.
Yeah.
for me, like sex scenes don't make it romantasy or not romantasy, because there can be points to some of that. It's the, like, you know, the romance focus. Like if the romance is the A plot, then it's romantasy. If the romance is the B plot, then it's fantasy romance.
I agree.
And then if the romance is like the C or lesser plot, it's like, no, it's something else,
it's
my
an
friend.
actual
Right.
fantasy book, like the
Yeah.
Poppy War. Okay. Like, yeah, I guess there's like some.
I mean, I don't. So I feel some sort of way about having content warnings
Mm.
simply because there is sex in an adult novel. I don't. If you're reading an adult novel, I
Yeah.
don't think that is something that needs to be, unless it is like when we're talking about things that are questionable. If there is a lack of consent, things like that, I think those should be mentioned. But like otherwise, it's like adults be adults.
And here's the other thing is I also feel like there's enough at this point, like enough reviews and things are on the internet that you can
Yeah.
look up pretty much any book,
If that
especially
is
a newer book that you're wanting to read. And there are whole accounts. I follow some actually because it helps me to recommend books to my friends that don't want to read, like they want to read romance, but they don't want to read romance that has spice.
like
And
explicit
that's
spice
okay.
and stuff.
You don't have
Yeah, because I used to avoid a lot of that.
finish up. Like they will read anything that it would be considered closed door, right? Where it's implied, but there's nothing on page. They just don't want to read things on page.
Mhm.
There are whole like Instagram, TikTok, also I think probably accounts that's all they do is
Mhm.
content of, you know, different genres of books, and they will tell you like what you can skip and things like that. I actually just read. I can't think of which romance book it was. I'm gonna have to go look. But I just actually Jessica Jude books. I've read arcs for her before. She's an indie author, and she actually at the beginning of her books has an outline of the chapters and or pages that you can skip if you want to read it with no spice, because she does write gritty, I would even say borderline dark romance books.
Yeah. That makes sense.
They are contemporary romance, but she even has ARC readers that I've been in groups with that they don't want to read all of the spice. And her plots, like they're there for you if you want to read them. Like I read them, it's fine. But
I'm much more comfortable with spice being in my books than I was when I first started BookTube. And I do agree that like content warnings are important.
Mhm.
My thing is like there is a lot of it's complicated and slightly problematic to simply put a content warning on something just because there's sex in the book, right?
Right.
Like
and
sex
some
in and of itself, I don't like. When you start saying that needs to be a content warning, you start getting into some of the censorship and book banning conversations.
And some, I see this mostly in dark romance books.
Yeah.
Or what I would consider a gritty contemporary romance. That there are more authors that are putting in their content warnings that there are explicit sex scenes. But it's usually like explicit sex scenes that include, and then the list of things.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is a slippery slope if we're putting.
Yeah, it just plays too easily into like the whole conversation of we're putting smutty books in libraries, which it is almost always like they are. There's so many times like that's not actually sexual content. Yeah, it might be helpful. Like the days in fantasy and sci-fi were not expected to be geared for. I mean, they've always been expected to be geared for adults, though, Jamie. Like that's there's been adult sci-fi like YA and teen fiction is actually newer than adult, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing is like a lot of us, I think, growing up, there was a weird, at least for me growing up, there was like a weird blurring of the lines because it's like you jumped from children to adult. Like there was like a weird in between for a long time.
I did that.
Yeah. Like there were definitely books that I read that I should not have been reading as like a 12-year-old. But we didn't have like super explicit like this is for 12 to 16 year old. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the only series I can even think of is the one that we don't mention.
The idea of a teenager in general is newer. It's like something that emerged in the 50s and 60s
Right.
as kids were able to spend more time in school and less time working.
Mhm.
And so then the idea of teen fiction in and of itself is also newer. Oh, come on, gotta focus again. I don't know why my camera does this, guys. I'm so sorry. It will come back. So yeah,
You're back.
it's newer.
Yeah.
Now the fact that sex is more easily accepted in books is a little bit isn't a little bit newer concept, simply because like propriety standards, like what is proper, has
Right.
changed. It's similar to like how there's more sexual content, or there's less sexual content in movies currently than there was like 10 years ago when you sit down and you look at it. But like up until like the 80s and 90s, people were very much still operating under the Hays codes, right?
Mhm.
So, but like it's, in my opinion, as someone who for a very long time was not comfortable reading sex scenes, that's our um that's our responsibility. That's my responsibility, or it was my responsibility at the time to do the work to see if that was going to be in there. Because again, I feel that like having that just simply, hey, there's explicit sex in this as a content warning, that gets into some murky waters.
Hmm.
I mean, yes, was marketed with the expectation that boys and young men were the biggest audience for the genre. That has changed a lot over the years. And let me tell you, there is some really weird erotic side.
Yeah.
One of my favorite podcasts went into some of the weird, like the weird wet dream fantasy sci-fi from the 40s and 50s. So it wasn't fully explicit, but it was weird and sexual. Like they were reading out passages.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but the other thing is that we know that while they were marketed towards boys, like it's the same thing with comics.
Mhm.
We also know that women were a big consumer of that um, thing. Like it's like women were continually, when Star Trek the original series was airing, like
Mhm.
men and boys were seen as the main audience of that. But like there was this whole huge undercurrent of women
Right.
that were writing fanfic. That's like where fan fiction got its start in the 60s.
Yeah.
But Aoife says, I just started the long and painful and slow process of swatching every wool I own to see how it reacts when washed. Think of me.
We're praying
Aoife,
for you, Aoife.
why are we hurting ourselves in this way?
What are we doing? Oof.
Do you need an intervention, Aoife?
That does sound long and slow and painful.
Yeah, that is wild. That is truly wild. I think now is a good time for us, with that and our worry about Aoife. I think perhaps now is a good time for us to go into our next sprint. Yes, no, maybe so.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
All right, we shall go in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hello and welcome. Screwed that up. Okay. Hello and welcome back, everybody. There we are. Give me a moment. Let's get rid of the banner real quick. How did you do, Neva, while I do math?
I listened to another 2 chapters. I have no idea what pages that is.
You're like, I'm winging it, man.
Because it's just, I don't have the physical book, it's just the audio, so.
I understand.
And I'm not trying to do math to figure out the page count.
Yeah. See, I'm a weirdo who likes math. So.
Don't worry.
Or at least I like, okay. Hi, sweetie. Let's rephrase that. I don't like math. I like the numbers. So, anyways, I got to page 91. So that was 43 pages read that time. It's interesting because, like, something has happened and it happened earlier than I was expecting it to happen in this book. Like, if I had written the synopsis, I would not have written the synopsis this way.
Gotcha.
I think they were trying to do this as a twist, and I'm just like, that's not really a twist though, man. Like, we knew that this was something that was going to happen at some point in the novel. Like, I would have just said, hey, this is, because it feels like it's the inciting incident, which in my mind, inciting incident can go in the synopsis. Right? So, anyways, it is very interesting dealing with these two people's separate kind of trains of thought and the ethical considerations around like them reintegrating and things like that. For those that are just joining us, I'm reading Sublimation by Isabel J. Kim. So, how is On Wings of Blood going for you?
Fine. Here's the thing. I don't know what my footing is with romantasy yet, I think. So, okay, go.
How long is it till 5?
Just watch your time. About 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm not sure what my footing is with romantasy. This is romantasy. It's vampires.
Okay.
Here's the thing is like I'm like the queen of not reading a synopsis. I just get told what to read and I read it. So I did this with another book not too long ago too, where like I didn't read the synopsis and then I started listening to the book and I didn't know really what was going on, and then I went and read the synopsis because I was like, I don't know if what I think is happening is actually what's happening or not. And like what I thought was happening is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having like a good time with it. Like I'm not disliking it or anything. I had this issue with what is that Devney Perry book that she just wrote that's a romantasy?
I have no idea. I am so out of the loop, man.
I only know it's Devney Perry because she writes like gritty contemporary romances, and then she was like her first
romantasy.
Just go look at Pagebound really quick because I know I read it last month, I think, and that one I was like, oh yeah, I'm like excited to read this. People have said it's good, whatever, and it was on my 12 Recs from 12 Friends. Nell gave it to me. Let's find it. Shield of Sparrows.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of this one.
But I didn't know, like, when I first started it, I was like, I don't think that I understand, like, what's going on. And so I was like, well, let me go read the synopsis. And then I did understand what was going on. Here's the thing. Sometimes I got out of reading synopses when thrillers kept being basically spoiled for me. From the synopsis. Like, I just stopped reading synopses because I was like, this is going to happen to me every time I read a synopsis. Like, a major plot thing is going to be ruined. That's not really true. I don't know why they do that with some of the thrillers. But I read Shield of Sparrows, and I really did like that book. And this one kind of reminds me of that, except this one has vampires in it.
Okay, interesting. I haven't read either of them yet, so, and I haven't looked into them.
I
But
just have to remind myself with romantasy that like the fantasy is truly the subplot.
the
Like
subplot,
the fantasy is truly not front and center. So I have to rate them a little bit differently than
yeah.
I would rate
Well,
say like a fantasy romance.
Yeah, my thing is like I guess a lot of the time the world building is different.
It is.
So like well, a series that's really good for if you're looking for a romantasy or if you like both romantasy and fantasy romance is Song of Blood and Stone by Elle Penelope. Like the first book I would say is a romantasy because the relationship between the two main characters is the main plot. But then like the second book is much more heavy on the world building and stuff. So it ends up being more of a fantasy romance. And I would say like book 3 kind of is more of a fantasy romance. Sherry joined us, by the way. Hi, Sherry. Listening to Don't Believe It by Charlie Donnelly and eating some nuggets, popcorn, and tea. Girl, listen, we love it. That feels very, very apt. You can't go wrong with nuggets and popcorn. Tennille says, I had supper and listened to more of the Bone Shard War. Hi, Caitlin. How are you? It's going well. I am on my second book at this point. Got a little bit of a later start than I would have liked, but that's fine. It's okay. It is what it is. I think I can get this done by the end of my deadline for myself. So there is that. But there we are. I have 4 hours left at my speed, Tennille says. I think I need to try something else for a bit for a vibe. Sometimes you need a vibe change, right? Sometimes, I mean, for me, I feel like I don't know if it's a vibe change that I do as much as I'll do like a medium change. Does that make sense, Tennille? Like I'll be listening to a book and I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, I have to listen to something that is not book. Like I have to listen to like a podcast or I need to put on like a YouTube video or a television show or a movie, right?
I do that. I have to do this sometimes too, especially because I listen to my audio. So my audiobooks, technically my podcasts are speeded up, but they're only sped up to 1.5 speeded.
Yeah.
That's the word. They are sped up, but they're actually only sped up to 1.5.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're sped up like that is because I use a setting on the podcast app the podcast player that I use that's called like Mad Max or something, and it basically cuts out all of like the dead air. Because sometimes when you listen to a podcast, there's like dead air pockets.
Yeah.
And because of that, I have to speed up the actual people talking to about 1.5 speed, or it sounds disjointed when things get cut out. But I don't speed up. I know some people do, but anything where I'm watching someone speak to me, like where I could be looking at the screen, I don't speed up. So I don't speed up my YouTube videos, and I don't speed up like streaming channels. I know you can, like on Netflix, and it's weird, and I hate it.
I don't speed up. I mean, when you're streaming something, you can't really a lot of the time. I don't speed up TV and movies. I will speed up a YouTube video, but also a lot of the time with YouTube videos, I'm not entirely watching them. I just like, for me, I want it to be a little bit faster so that it's like talking speed, if that makes sense.
That's fair. Yeah, and a lot of times when I watch YouTube videos, because not everyone talks at the same speed.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know what I sound like if you speed my videos up. I don't know that anyone would actually want to listen to that because I sound like I should have been casted out.
You don't sound all that
bad. But there are some people that like if I speed up their video, I can't understand them. Like they naturally talk fast enough that it will take my brain
like that
too long to catch up. So I have a couple of people specifically in like the crafting space that talk really fast, and I think that a lot of us that do whip and chats naturally try and talk quickly because we confine ourselves into an hour.
Yeah.
You know? Plus, like, I tend to listen to YouTube while I'm, like, diamond painting or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't speed up my TV shows either. So sometimes I will switch to, like, a TV show.
Yeah. If there's music involved, I don't
slow down.
I don't like music being sped up.
Oh, I don't like music either.
No, I don't like if there's like so and like TV shows, there's the music, there's also for TV shows like there's acting. And I tend, especially when you're watching a performance, I tend to want to be able to experience the whole performance. Whereas like if it's an audiobook, Like, I feel like you can preserve the performance while
I'm
also
just-
going a bit faster.
Yeah, I'm just listening to an audiobook, so I can do an audiobook sped up between 2 and 3 times speed, depending on the narrator.
Yeah. Julia says, I got cat water bowls washed and rewatered and got a few chapters read in Forsaken Prophecy. Very nice. That's exciting. We also have a Kiana. How are you doing today, Kiana? Let's see. It's good to see you. I feel like it's been a hot minute. I also am terrible with time. So you could have been here last week and I just it seems like it's longer to me. Oh yeah, Tennille did call me out. Have you returned the overdue books to the library or is your Libby unlocked? Yes. Yes, my Libby has been on.
Your Libby?
Yeah. If my books are if your books are overdue, it will not let you. It won't let you check out any more books at that library. Because my home library, like, they basically will block your account.
My home library doesn't do that. Here's the thing, and I only know this because I actually worried about that because I had some fines. They were like $8, but like I had some fines on my card, and I was like, oh no, they're not gonna let me use Libby. But they don't lock out your Libby account. You can still check things out on Libby.
So my library doesn't fine you anymore. What they do is you have 10 days to return it past its due date, and if you haven't returned it by the 10th day, they charge you for the book, they charge you the restocking fee, and then they block your account until you have either paid the fees or returned the book. And I always return the book. I'll just forget sometimes. So yes, I returned the last book that I needed to return. I believe I returned it on Tuesday, because I returned it when I went to vote. And so, like, by Wednesday, I was able to get.
I mean, I did forget that
my living.
Florida libraries made it so that they weren't doing fees anymore. Our library still does fees, but that does. Yeah. I guess that makes sense as a way of still making sure that books aren't like taken forever.
Yeah,
you have to have some kind of a buffer if you're not gonna do fees. Stop it.
So, but yeah, I don't. Oh God, what terms are we talking about at this point?
Romantasy and fantasy romance. I don't know that I agree with this, but
no, romantasy is very determinedly fantasy A plot. And then the good authors will have strong world building still, but it's not always like that's not an expectation. I might try Red Sister, but I hadn't been aware when I picked this up that it was grimdark. I don't get along with grimdark. The other thing I will mention to Neil is that Mark Lawrence is known for being super condescending to female writers. And the V.E. Schwab has talked about it, how he's a dick to other women. And then also I do know, like, I'm not going to share who it was, but like I know people who he was not necessarily a dick to, but let people be a dick to without stepping in for a thing that he runs. So just if you're looking for a reason to DNF it, he is mildly problematic. I don't think he has any serious like allegations against him. I just know that he is known for being kind of dickish towards women. So especially like women like in the writer space. So, but if you like grimdark, he's good. Okay, so Kiana says no, it's been a while. Okay, I missed you. I've seen you, I think I've seen a couple. Why is that there?
That's a great question.
My mug is on the floor. I'm not sure how that happened. When we're talking, speaking of my memory, yeah, what was I doing? Yeah, it's been, I've seen a little bit of you on, I think we've connected a couple of times on Instagram. My library doesn't do fines anymore, and they extend your physical book if you're getting too close to the due date. They email you. My librarians have started renewing my books for me because I've gone in to renew my books, and then they're like, "Oh, these are due. These are already renewed."
The libraries at my library will do this too because like you can only manually renew your own library books twice.
Yeah, you can renew them twice. I think you have 2 or 3 renews.
They can renew them from like their system.
Yeah.
And so I've been at the library enough this summer with the children, that I've had a couple of the librarians be like, "Hey, so this book is due in like 2 days, but like, have you started it?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Okay, great," and then they renew it for another
My
weeks.
my librarians, I walk in now, and if I have holds, they'll go to the hold shelf and just grab my, like, they don't even have to look me up to know where my books are. It's bad. It is the only place though that I don't feel bad about being like, it doesn't give me weird vibes to be a regular. You know what I mean?
Right.
I haven't even started, but it might be iffy. Yeah, and I understand. I got the audio to try, immersion reading, time to try, and DNF if it's not for me. Understandable. Thank you, Kiana. Are you talking about my Q3 reset? Because if you're talking about my Q3 reset, oh my god, my hair felt so good that day. I had just washed it and I couldn't stop touching it because it was so soft. I remember editing it and I'm like, oh my god, girl, what? Stop it. But yeah. But yes, thank you very much. I need to get the colors redone. Yeah. Oh, I like, yeah, I love the red. I love the red. There's a reason that I stuck with it for like a decade at this point. I think I might not have been red when I started book 2. There's a possibility that there's like 2 videos of me without red hair. I think my first video might have 0 red hair. Let's see. Hold on. Let me take a look at this. No, it's still red. Okay. Yeah, it was red by that point. I don't entirely, at this point, I don't entirely remember when I went red. Okay, there's only like 2 videos of me with long hair. That's what it is. I don't remember when I did this, but I did. Yeah, it would have been red before I started book 2. Basically, I walked into the salon. I was like, "Hey, I want to try experiment. This keeps happening to me, by the way. I want to try experimenting with my hair. Um, let's start with red." And then I just was like, "Oh, this is perfect. We don't need to change a thing. This will be my hair color until I die." Or at least until it makes sense for me to go gray or something. I don't know. Give me just a second. I think I'm going to adjust. We're going to do a 45-minute sprint for the last one so that we still have a little bit of time to talk before I send you guys over to Neva's channel. There we go. No. It's been red forever. You are correct. You are very correct. I don't think it's stimulant, though. Did I have the purple in it yet? I want to say 2024 is no, because I didn't have the purple in for Taylor Swift. I want to say 2024, like December, was when I put the colors in. So, all right. Shall we do our final sprint, Neva? All right. We will go in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let me do that. There we go. Hello and welcome back, friends. I did not get nearly as much read that time because it was time to update the vlog. So we updated the vlog.
That's fair.
That's fair. That was 12 pages. I was talking with Jess. I was like, this doesn't feel like sci-fi to me. And then I was like, 3 seconds later, I was like, oh, there's the sci-fi angle. I'm sure Jess is having a blast watching me just like text my thoughts as I'm reading this book. It's very interesting. So I got to page 102 that time. How did you do?
I read it. I listened to another chapter. So
Good.
the chapters are like very varying in length. Like some of them are really long and some of them are not. So I can't
Yeah.
like predict how much I'm going to be able to get through.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that can be really hard with audiobooks because like I feel like when you have a physical book, you can like look to see where the end of the chapter is and like get a feeling on how long the book is. But then when you're listening to an audiobook or how much time you got, when you're listening to an audiobook, it's just like a ticker on the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So anyways, has it gotten any better, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like a fun read. I think like it's like I'm having fun with it. Like I'm definitely not gonna like DNF or anything. I just think I still need to find my actual footing
What you like.
in what I like in romantasy because like I know that I like like Beauty and the Beast retellings, which to me is far more romantasy than it is fantasy romance.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't sometimes like I have issues with romantasy if I'm not convinced by the romance part.
That is the hard thing. Like romantasy, you really do have to also like you don't just have to like buy into the world and the plot like whatever the plot is. You also have to buy into the couple, right? And if you don't buy into the couple, the book's not going to be as satisfying.
And that's the part that I sometimes have trouble with. This so far, like who I think are supposed to be like the people that we're being told are supposed to be a couple. I understand that it's enemies to lovers, so I am letting it kind of develop on its own to see if like I'm convinced by the enemies to lovers. Like I'm convinced by the enemies part of the enemies to lovers trope. So I'm hoping that that will carry into like into the lovers part when we get there. You know what I'm saying? But that's the part
I'm hoping that the chemistry and the tension will make sense then too.
And there is like a third party in this relationship because she is human, or so we're supposed to believe, right? She's not a vampire. And she's been like betrothed to this vampire man guy, royalty man. He's a prince, I'm pretty sure. But that
I love royalty man. Let's keep that one.
But that royalty man already has another partner.
Mm-hmm.
And like
awkward.
The other partner is aware that like their custom is for him to be married to more than one person. But there's some like hazing and stuff that's happened between the two women, like the original chick and then this girl that we're following. And like I get why it's happening. And it doesn't really bother me. Like the bullying, it doesn't necessarily bother me because I think that it fits in the context of the story that we're getting.
Yeah.
But if in order for it to sell me on like the romantasy, like in order for it to sell me as a story, they definitely once the romance part happens, it's like I'm gonna have to be convinced of it. Because if it just feels like they're enemies who are just like doing the thing because they feel like they're supposed to be doing it, like you're not going to convince me.
It really like you've got here's the thing I love about enemies to lovers is like that part where they are like they start to have to work together and you can see them have this grudging respect begin to form.
Right.
That butters my biscuit, man.
Yes.
Or
But
there's that. I forgot about the timer.
that part being done well is usually what convinces me that they'll be okay once the
Yeah.
romance starts.
You can also sell me sometimes on them just being like, just falling into like hate sex. Sometimes that will work as well for me, but it doesn't work as often because I do feel like sometimes the hate part of the hate sex is kind of glossed over and we don't explore the tension of that as much.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it can get real weird. Kiana says I got to 70% of B is for Burglar by Sue Grafton. Caitlin got to 83% of. I need to read Spark of the Everflame and Glow of the Everflame, trying to finish it tonight before I lose the audiobook. Oh no, are we playing Libby Chicken? Godspeed. Mute us. Continue reading, Caitlin. Tennille says I read a bunch of chapters of Red Sister and DNF. It wasn't even the Grimdark part. I didn't get along with the writing. I had the same issue with the Girl on the Stars, which is set in the same world. I listed the book on Marketplace and hopefully someone is interested. I understand that. I fully understand that. Wait, why is there a question mark? Does this have question mark? No, it does not. Why does one of these have question mark and the other one does not? Anyways, Rope has been dropped by. How are y'all doing at the end? Yes, the end of the sprints. You caught us at the last sprint, my friend. The very, very end of the sprints. So, I have 12 hours, but I will be sleeping for most of that. And how much? Okay, so then that begs the question, how much of the audiobook do you have left, Caitlin? How much audiobook do we have left in this 12 hours that you have to get this book read? Especially since you're going to be sleeping. I mean, who needs sleep? Tomorrow's a Sunday, in theory. In theory. I would assume that if you have, like, your Europe or US, if you have 12 hours, then some of that is going to be sleeping. So. Only two. See, that's easy. You can do that.
You can definitely sleep for most of 12 hours and still finish it.
Yeah, you got this. I was supposed to get up early today and go for my walk early, and guess who didn't do that?
Margaret.
Margaret. I've been opening that window right there, so like when the sun rises, like the sunlight starts coming in my room, and that helps to wake me up. And I had it closed last night. So, classic mistake. So, right up there with trying to invade Russia in the wintertime.
Right.
Anyways, I'm going for a walk, but you guys are about to get sent to Neva's channel for some more sprints. Before we go, Julie had to top out because she is currently supervising her father, who is doing something with a light.
Yeah.
And she is a better daughter than I am because I'm like, my dad does that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, your funeral.
Don't fall.
I'm much more blasé about it than my mom is. Partly because I grew up with it. My dad doing that my entire life. I'm like, if it's actually a legitimate issue, he will stop. That's what'll happen. He'll stop. Although he did acquiesce when we had the house painted. We had some painting done, and he did acquiesce when my mom was like, "No, you can't. I'm not letting you paint all those windows on the second story. We're hiring someone." It's very funny. That was like she was adamant enough that my dad didn't even fight it, I don't think. But Julie has a video linked down below. It's her most recent haul if you want to check that video out. It also is linked if you scroll all the way up in the chat, all the way up to here. It's also linked somewhere in the chat, and I have lost it now because I asked people, and now it's missing. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's linked here if you would like. Neva also has a video linked down below if you would like to check that out. Is there anything you want to plug besides your sprints before we head out?
I mean, I'll have another whipping chat on Wednesday.
Amazing. We love that. You're so good with those whipping chats, man.
Thanks. I didn't have one this week just because I got my dates all messed up, and so trying to rush to do one was not the move.
I understand.
But I try to be really consistent with the whipping chats. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a lot to like update, so I've been trying to find other things to do in the whipping chats, but I try to be consistent with them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I need to figure out a way. I think I want to do like somehow figure out a way to do something like that, but with gaming. So like I'll play through a game while talking about like my reading or something.
Yeah.
However, I don't know how much that's going to be to edit. I might try it as a
So
blog.
I did something similar to this. Now, mind you, like I don't have like a capture card, so I couldn't like just upload the game footage. So I basically set my phone up on my tripod in such a way that you were looking at my iPad
Yeah.
because that's what
I
I
do
did
it through
for the video.
everything I do is on my computer, so I just do it through StreamYard.
Right. So you'd be able to do it that way, like with the share the screen. I don't think it would be that much to edit as long as you do it like I do the whipping chats. I even when I did like 2 of the gaming ones where I played like Wildflowers one time and
Mhm.
like Pizza another time. You just have to kind of be talking because like my whipping chats, I don't edit them.
Yeah.
I do them in one take. So whatever is said or diamonds are spilt or whatever like is captured on the thing because it's easier to just kind of have a stream of consciousness going while I'm doing
Yeah.
the other thing.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you, Glenda. Thank you for hanging out with us. See you guys on. I will pop into the comments once I get back. But my thing is weird. And yes, we will see you tomorrow, Glenda. Thank you for joining us for this weekend. You are very welcome, Kiana. I think I've gotten us close enough to 7 o'clock that we can end the sprints.
Yep.
You guys won't be sitting there for like 20 minutes. I think there have been a couple of times where I've like not quite made it. Like I like made it to like 6:30. I'm like, I'm done. And then I'm just like, you guys are going over early. Just say hi.
And they definitely do because I'll open the thing to like get set up and I'll have people that are like, "Hey."
I'm glad. I would love to do it. I only do one sprint a week now. So if I do another sprint, I might start like sending people to other people. But yeah. All right, we're gonna end the stream.